Hello soulmates, welcome to a new week. On today's tutorial video, we'll be drafting the top part of this dress, the blouse part, okay? So let's get into it. Now, if you look at the top, this blouse, you see that it has three parts: the yoke, the right side, and the left side. Okay, so now the first thing you need to do is to draft out a basic bodice. I have a well-detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice on my channel. Okay, so now the measurements you need are your shoulder to chest, shoulder to bust point, shoulder to half cut, then the top of your blouse. Right, so now we're going to draft out the basic bodice, but to watch the well-detailed tutorial on how to draft the basic bodice, just is on my page. Just type it and you'll see it. Okay, so now I'm drafting out the neck and the shoulder part of this bodice. All right, so you first of all draft out your basic bodice. I'm drafting out the shoulder part. You draw a straight line, and after the shoulder part, the next thing you do is to mark from your shoulder to your chest line, from your shoulder to your bust point, from your shoulder to your from your shoulder to your half length, then the length of the top. Now, if the length of your blouse or top, the length of your blouse is 20, okay, you're going to mark 24 as the length of your blouse. So you're going to add 4 inch allowance at the bottom part. Now we're adding that 4 inches because of if you look at if you look at the blouse, you see that one part is longer than the other. All right, so to get that longer part, we're going to add an extra 4 inch allowance to the length of the top. So the length of the top I'm working with here is 16 inches. So I added 4 inches allowance to the full length of the top. Okay, so that we'll get that longer part. All right, so I'm done drafting. We are going to impute our measurements. Now, when you're imputing your measurements, you have to do your measurements divided by 4 plus your allowance. Okay, so if your bust is 24, divided by 4 is 6 plus allowance. Most times I like to add 2 inches allowance to my outfit. I like to add 2 inches allowance. I prefer the outfit to have more allowance than less allowance. Okay, you can easily alter it. If it's too big, you can shape it, but if it's too small, it will be hard for you because you don't have enough fabric. So you can see the 4 inch allowance that I added. Then I marked my dart leg. To get your dart leg, your bust span divided by 2. That's your nipple to nipple divided by 2. So the nipple to nipple I'm working with is 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So I notched the center front and then the dart leg. For the neckline, I just used the normal basic neckline. I did 4 inches wide, 3 inches deep. Okay, if you look at the picture, you see that the neck is not so open. It's just the normal measurements for neckline: 4 inches wide, 3 inches deep. Okay, so when you're done drafting your bodice, this is how it's going to look, and then you cut it out. Please remember to add your allowance. Please, very, very important. Now, if you look at this style, you see that the shorter part of the blouse, right, the shorter part overlaps on the longer part. That place that has the press button, it's overlapping, right? So that's one of the reasons why I added 2 inches allowance, because I want the overlap to show. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So now we're going to cut out our basic bodice. Please, hope you understand up to this point. If you have a question, please let me know in the comment section and I'll try my best to explain further. Okay, so this is how to draft just the simple basic bodice. All right, so when you're done, now we're going to work on the 3 parts. I told you earlier that this design has 3 parts: the yoke, the left side, and the right side. All right, so you first of all mark your center point, mark your dart legs. Now it's time for us to create the design. Now remember that for the longer part, we added 4 inches allowance to the normal length of the blouse, the normal length of the top. Okay, So now let's work on the yoke part. Now you can see that the yoke, the upper part of the dress, it has something like a sweetheart design on one part of the darts, right? So to get that sweetheart design, you get your curved ruler, okay? And then on your chest line, you come down by 1 inch. On your chest line, you come down by 1 inch and then connect it to your armhole area. Do you get? You see the reason why we marked the chest line. From your chest line, you come down by 1 inch. Can you see? Then you connect it with your curved ruler to your armhole to create that sweetheart look. Now on your armhole area, you see that where it connects to your armhole is 4 inches. So make sure that it's 4 inches for the right armhole and 4 inches for the left armhole. Then you label your yoke. We've gotten that design for the yoke. Now the next thing now is to get the bottom part. Now for the left side, okay, let's say the right side and the left side, so we'll understand. Okay, so one part is short, one part is long. Can you see it? So we're going to be working on the shorter part. For the shorter part, can you see? One part is short, one part is long. So for the shorter part, on that 4 inches, that 4 inches that were marked, right, we'll go up by 2 inches. Can you see? We'll go up by 2 inches because we want to get that shorter part first. Remember, we'll go up by 2 inches on the dart leg and then we'll connect it to the top length. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We connect it to the top length. Can you see? So you go up, that 4 inches that were added, you mark 2 inches on that 4 inches that were added, and then you connect it to the top of the length by the side for the shorter part. Then for the longer part, you just need to connect it from that 4 inches to the top length. Now if you watch, can you see the structure? Can you see the design? That one part is longer than the other part. All right, now can you see what we've drafted? So now we're going to cut out our pattern. Please hope you understand up to this part. Please, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click on the subscription button and subscribe, like, share, and comment on the videos, okay? So now I'm going to cut out my pattern and then I'm going to show you how it looks. So if you want to draft this pattern, this is the best way to draft this pattern. Can you see that it's looking exactly as what we have on the screen? Can you see? We have the yoke, we have the shorter part, and we have the longer part. That's the 3 parts of this pattern. So now I want to show you how to sew it. Okay, so you can decide to make this outfit with, you can decide to lining it, that's to use lining for the dress. You can also decide not to use a lining. Do you get? So if you're going to use a lining, remember to turn up your main fabric with your lining. So I've cut for my yoke, and then when you're cutting your yoke, if you watch, you see that I added 1/2 inch joining allowance. Can you see? I added 1/2 inch joining allowance to the bottom of the yoke, and then for the right and the left side of the remaining part of the blouse, I also added 1/2 inch allowance. Can you see how I'm adding the allowance? So yes, so you're going to add your allowance to the left side and the right side of the front part of this outfit. Hope you understand. So now you just trace it out. Okay, so you do the same thing for the other longer parts. So please, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Okay, please let me know in the comment section. So this is how to draft it first. Now I'm going to show you how to sew it. Remember, if you're using a lining, after we are going to cut your lining the same way you cut your main fabric, okay? And then you turn it up. All right, you turn up the neck part of the yoke, then you turn up this side, the short side, and the longer side. All right, you turn it up then before you start joining it. Do you get? So just using a lining, the only difference is just turning it up. But if you're not using a lining, please weave all the rough edges. Weave it so that your work will be neat. All right, so this is the longer part. If you watch now, see the place that I'm adding the 1/2 inch allowance is the front. That's the part that I'm going to join to the yoke. Do you understand? Just the front part, not the sides, because I've already added the normal clothes measurements. Do you get? So I'm done. Can you see how it's looking? Can you see the 1/2 inch allowance that I added to the yoke part and to the front part? Now it's time for us to join this top. So the first part you join is the longer part. Okay? So this is how it's going to look. Just flip it over and then you pin it. Alright? You pin it to your yoke area. Now you have to be very careful because this yoke area is not a straight line. So you have to be careful and you must use your pin. So when you're done, this is how it's going to look. Make sure that it's giving you the correct sewing before you sew it. Alright? So now I'm done sewing it. This is how it looks. Can you see? Can you see how beautiful it's looking already? So this is the first thing you need to do. Then you press it open. Press your stitches open, okay? Then the next thing we're going to do now is to join the shorter side. Do you get? So you place your shorter side like so. Can you see? You flip it over and then you pin. Please make sure that you have your pin with you. You must work with your pin to get your desired look. Alright? So you flip it over like so and then you pin it to the yoke. Please, hope you understand up to this point. Hope you understand up to this point. Please, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me in the comment section. I'll answer your question, okay? I'll explain further. So you pin it to your yoke and then you sew it. Remember to sew it with the 1/2 inch allowance that we added. Remember the 1/2 inch allowance, okay? So now this is how our outfit looks. Can you see how it's looking? Now remember that 1/2 inch allowance I added at the front part, and I told you that the front part has an overlap, right? That the shorter part overlaps on the longer part. Even without covering the front part, you see that we're already getting the shape. So now what you're going to do is to fold in this part to give it a neat finishing. Just fold it in. Remember, as I said earlier, weave all rough edges, okay? So fold it in. Can you see what I'm trying to do? You fold that part in, then the part that is overlapped, remember what I said about the overlapped area, the part that is overlapped, just fold it. Can you see how I'm doing? Can you see what I'm doing? You fold it in and then you sew it down on top. Do you get? You sew it down on top of the longer part. Hope you understand this part. If you zoom in the picture, you see that the shorter part is overlapped on it. So when you're done, this is how it's going to look. Then you fix your press button on the other part and your outfit is ready, right? So this is how to achieve this design and this look. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you, and please, if it was helpful to you, please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? Thank you for watching and see you on my next tutorial. Bye.